Welcome to the ITT Future You Career Compass. In this session, Emily Edwards, the travel industry's career coach and commercial trainer, explores self-leadership and tackles something many people experience but rarely talk about: imposter syndrome. If you've ever doubted your abilities or felt like you don't quite belong, this session will give you practical tools to build confidence, take control, and step into your role with clarity. Introducing Emily.
Hi, thank you so much, Tia. I was so pleased to be here. So 3/4 of people who are happy in their travel industry careers actually named this as their biggest challenge. So today I'm talking to you about wizards and lizards. What on earth has this got to do with the world of work? But before I get to that, let me just quickly explain the pilot principle. These are the 4 key pillars to propelling your career in travel forwards. And we're starting today over here in self-leadership. Self-leadership is all about having agency and control over yourself and your career, knowing where you want to go and making it happen. The other pillars are skill, support, and slick communication, which are in other videos. So maybe you felt that before. You know, it can be the voice in your head telling you, I don't actually deserve this role, or I'm winging it and I hope no one else is going to notice, or everyone else knows something I don't, or I don't really fit in here. And none of them are saying I'm bad at my job or I don't have the skills. It's more of a feeling of not belonging or being in the wrong place. And you might have felt the physical symptoms as well, like your hands start to shake, or your voice is wobbling, or you may go a bit red, or have a tight feeling in your chest because you're breathing faster. And all of those things together are sometimes known as imposter syndrome. So who gets imposter syndrome? From my own research, 75% of people who are happy in their careers in travel named it as one of their biggest challenges. Women feel it slightly more, people from working class backgrounds feel it slightly more, but generally a lot of people feel it at some point in their lives. And when does it happen? It happens when we really care about something and when we're making a change or doing new things. So that's not a bad situation to be in, you know, it's actually a good situation. It's not a debilitating disease. It's a sign you're learning and growing, but there is a bit of an identity shift that's needed to move forwards. So I tend to call it the imposter wobbles, just because just like when you learn to ride a bike, you can work through it, but it might come back sometimes. So today I'm going to talk a bit about why it happens and what you can do about it. So before I get to you, I'll start with me. I've felt imposter syndrome many times. Probably the most impactful time I felt it was about 4 years ago. I was in a new big girl job and I came from another stressful work environment. So I didn't have any time in between to relax or, bring myself down from that other stressful environment. And the way it showed up for me was I couldn't bring myself to speak up and challenge people. I felt a huge amount of pressure only to say things I knew were 100% right. And I held a huge amount of pressure internally to prove myself as worthy of getting this big girl job, to the point that every interaction felt like a challenge, like it might create a chink in my defensive armor. And the cost was that people really wanted to hear what I had to say. But the voice in my head was saying, that's just common sense. They probably know that already. Or that's a stupid thing to say. Do you hear the paradox? Because imposter syndrome doesn't always make sense. I felt the only way I could succeed was by piggybacking off of others, asking their opinions to make sure I wasn't wrong first. And I was also working far too much because I was feeling that need to justify my place there in the company, dealing with emails late into the night, etc. And ironically, I really wasn't proving I was worthy of the role because I wasn't sharing all the lovely good ideas in my head that they weren't common sense and other people didn't know, because I felt like if I shared them and got them wrong, that would be failing, and being found out as a failure or a fraud just did not feel like an option for me. So every day I was tired, I was stressed, I was overworked, and if I had a big meeting coming up, I would worry about it all day long. Maybe as I was speaking, you might have recognized some of the symptoms in yourself, even if you were in a different situation. So what is the lizards and wizards all about? I'm going to start here with the lizard. These are just metaphors, okay? We don't actually have a lizard in our brain. But there is a part of our brain called the amygdala, which is the kind of prehistoric part of the brain, the same that animals have, and that's responsible for our stress response. So it's part of the limbic system, meaning it's also related to reward and punishment, and especially fear memories and fear responses. So if in the past you've been scared of something or something has hurt you in the past, the lizard gets us ready to avoid doing that thing ever again. And the lizard has a really fast reaction. It's a physical reaction. So imagine being a cave person being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. That's what this brain is there to protect us from. Your body releases adrenaline and cortisol, So, those symptoms I said of breathing fast and your heart rate's going up and your voice is getting wobbly, that's because you've got those hormones in your body. And that reaction is called your fight or flight mode, which you've probably heard of. The lizard is trying to keep us safe from danger, from physical danger, but also in the modern age, emotional or social danger. For example, feeling like an outcast is one of the worst things we could imagine. So the lizard thinks we're being chased by a tiger. But that is a bit of an outsized reaction for careers these days because no one is actually going to eat us. But it is a very human and very normal reaction. But because we are an advanced Homo sapiens, I wonder if I can actually get some ahead. There you go. Apart from the lizard brain, we have the wizard brain. So here at the front, we have the prefrontal cortex, which is all about reasoning, planning, thinking about the future, regulating our emotions, and doing the difficult things the lizard doesn't choose to do. So this part of the brain is thinking about planning ahead, right? So the wizard might decide to do something like apply for a job, or ask your boss for feedback, or ask to shadow a client meeting. And then what happens to our little lizard? Because are these situations nice, safe, calm, predictable situations for our lizard? No, they are not. They are new, they are challenging, they might result in some potential danger. So when you get into that job interview, the lizard suddenly pops up and activates, sense we're in danger, and activates your fight or flight response with that physical reaction. So what does that have to do with imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome can be described as being the gap between who you see yourself as being, more like the lizard, and who you think you need to be successful and lead, more like the wizard. So the lizard is the voice of your imposter syndrome saying, why am I here? What are we doing here? We're out of our depth. When your wizard is trying to level up your life and do something new that you care about. So some common clashes for students, for example, might be like, I'm not someone that has any experience, so I won't be any good in that role. Or I'm not someone who knows about the workplace and how it all works. I can't fit in. Or I'm young. I can't take the lead on a project. It's those kind of identity feelings about who we are, not about what we can possibly learn. So what are we going to do about it? Where we build up our strength and our resilience to do more things and stretch our comfort zone is that tiny, tiny gap between feeling the feeling and taking action, or in some cases, not taking action, which often happens when the lizard is in control. So whenever we hear that voice questioning us, or when we're preparing for a situation where we know we'll feel the wobbles, I have several options for you. Like any condition, we can treat it at the level of symptoms, the condition itself, or the root cause of it. So we can take the painkillers, we can have the treatment, or we can eat well and exercise and sleep to avoid getting the condition in the first place. So I reckon that you're all probably quite smart people, and the symptom stuff you can take away like antibiotics from the GP. So I do have a free download for you, and we will pop the link in the description after this video. And what I'm going to focus on today is thinking about how you treat the condition. So the tool I recommend is 3 parts. Number 1, name it. Number 2, normalize it. And number 3, navigate it. So number 1, name it. You can say to that voice, hello lizard, thank you for attempting to keep me safe today. Or you can say, that's just my lizard talking, not my reality. When I've done this workshop in person, people have named the lizard. So you can be like, thanks Larry the lizard. I don't need you to help me out today. Number 2 is normalize it. So get some perspective. Think about what would you say to a friend who confided in you that they were feeling this way. Sometimes we just need to get out of our own heads because we judge ourselves so much more harshly than we would judge other people. So imagine what that friend would say if you could confide in them, and maybe go and actually talk to a friend because they'll probably help you out as well. And step 3 was navigate it. So ask yourself this question. This is the wizard question, okay? This is wizard thinking. If I already belonged here, what would I do next? So you're not asking yourself to feel belonging, you're not forcing yourself into the box, but you're saying, if I did already belong, what would my actions be? And that can help you get unstuck. For the root cause of how to deal with imposter syndrome, it takes a bit more work. And like I said, I've got that free download with a bit more information there. And I would advise sometimes working that through with a coach or a mentor. And that's all about upgrading your lizard so it thinks that you actually are where you are rather than being a little tiny lizard. So when I worked with a coach, the shift that I got on dealing with my imposter syndrome was it all came back to my mum. That was the story in my head. My mum loved me a lot. It was me and her against the world because my parents had broken up when I was little. And she drilled into me the importance of education. She reminded me to pronounce my T's and my T's properly. I'm from a Cockney background, not that you could tell. And I felt like I had to justify all her hard work in bringing me up, the amount that she sacrificed, her desire for me to do well and to get out of the cycle. She was a single mum who left school with no qualifications. Her mum walked out on the family when my mum was 16, and her dad was a black cab driver. So she had bigger dreams for me. So all my life, I've been working really hard to justify and fulfill those dreams, and I had to do more and more and more. But I hadn't noticed that I'd actually already fulfilled them. I was sitting in my condo building in Singapore with my fancy big girl job. And once I saw that it was true, I actually had fulfilled those dreams for her, I could relax a little bit. My name's Emily Edwards, so I'm the career coach for the travel industry. You can find me on LinkedIn or at emilyedwardscoaching.co.uk. Thank you.